Welcome in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is Wednesday, October 22nd. Glad you're with us. We have a lot of college football to get to. One thing we didn't really focus on yesterday were some of the injuries around the SEC and some of the groups, position groups inside the conference that continue to get beat up and continue to be banged up. We discussed a little bit of the Connor Lew injury. That's one that's going to be tough for Auburn just because he means so much. I don't mean this in a derogatory fashion, but there's not a lot of alphas on the Auburn offense, and losing one that you did have going to be problematic in multiple ways. However, I do think they have a suitable relationship or suitable replacement in time, but it's just the personality I think is going to be a big loss there.
What's the time frame for him?
He's got a torn ACL. He's out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that diagnosis.
Yeah,
that's too bad.
He'll miss the rest of the year.
That's a bummer.
And it's not just the Auburn offensive line that's taking hits. We have discussed and had discussions about some of the injuries that are happening around the SEC and some other offensive lines. LSU is also going to deal with that as Michael Alford, left tackle. Tyree Adams, apparently going to have an ankle, and he could be out 3 to 4 weeks. So Notre Dame's got some offensive line injury issues, GMAC. I mean, Michigan's got some offensive line injury issues. These are groups that didn't have depth to begin with.
Yeah.
And it's starting to look like for a lot of teams, survival of the fittest, specifically at that position, is going to be massive down the stretch.
Oklahoma, lineman issues, 2 guys out last week.
However, I think their group is
rounding, turning the corner.
Slow down. Baby steps. A couple baby steps last week. I saw a little bit of improvement, and that's a good front they played. I'm not saying that, they're going to spring up we're going to be having hard conversations with them as it pertains to the Joe Moore Award in 2 months, but I did see some improvement. And I think center right guard give them some consistency. You have a lot of youth there, but yes, you're right. That's been a revolving door pretty much 2 years now.
Yes. And they have some injuries there too. I mean, the right tackle hurt a little bit. Left guard hurt a little bit. Left guard's been a little bit of a liability anyways. So something to keep an eye on with that for sure. The other position groups, I feel like we are seeing a significant amount of injuries to running backs as well. I feel like there's so many guys banged up along the offensive line and then running back, man. It's like, it's wild. I don't know necessarily what I attribute to. Obviously, it's violent position and all that stuff. I get that. But think about how many running backs have either missed time and or will miss time here in the days to come.
How much are some of these, and again, I'm not going to point a finger at any individual guy. Some of these guys are out for the year, so it is what it is. How much are these guys protecting themselves now? And these are sprained ankles or hamstrings or shoulder bruises that normally it's just you're working your way through it. You're playing through it. And now it's the agent saying, no, you need to shut it down for 2 weeks. Because I've heard more about guys this year and coaches telling us could have gone or game time decisions that end up not going than I feel like I have the last couple of seasons. I feel like we're getting more guys that are right there on the fence. And normally when you hear that, I mean, what do we usually expect? Like, if he can go, he's going to go.
Yes.
Unless it's like a DB with a hamstring and it's pointless to get out there because you're just going to shred that thing again. And it's just got to have the rest. Those guys like Nussmeier, we talked about him. He's got an abdominal deal that he's probably going to continue to re-aggravate when he throws, which is what he does. So it's not going to get better. But the guy's just going to grind through it. It's who he is. But a lot of these guys, Greg, you just have to wonder, are they getting advice that's saying just don't go, just shut it down?
Probably in some cases. I think it depends on the team, depends on the guy. And it probably might depend on their NIL deal. Because if a guy is getting paid in incentives, if a guy has escalators and things like that for certain benchmarks and team performance, then I could absolutely see. And by the way, that's how I would structure every NIL deal. Like, you'd get benchmarks based on team performance and individual performance. You want to win? You want to get paid? Win. You want to get paid? Play well. You want to get paid? Produce. And you know what? Maybe your coaches actually have something to say about. I think I would do it as, hey, you have to grade above 90%. 85% on your performance week to week. And the coaches are the ones that determine your grade. And you get paid a lot of money if you grade 90% and or you win. So long story short, that's how I'd structure them. But that's a conversation for a different day. So I don't know, to answer your question. I don't want to think that. But in reality, when you don't really care about the institution, and a lot of these guys don't, then why would you put your body at risk or in harm's way for the possibility of further injuring yourself and maybe hurting your prospects more down the road?
So let's go through the AP top 10, and this will take us to a playoff conversation, and we'll roll that into a playoff conversation via conferences here in a few moments, probably later this hour. Who's in the best shape right now injury-wise? Or who maybe is on alert via injury? Because I think there's a common theme here, Greg, is that when we get through some of the teams that we're looking at that we're saying will be in the playoffs, can win a national title, their names aren't coming up in these conversations, really. Ohio State haven't had major injury issues.
I don't know. I don't even know what their injury issues are
because it's not a real concern.
They've played a Little Sisters of the Poor schedule. Like it's hard to really tell because they're rolling so many guys, and I don't know if they're rolling them because they know the game's in control, or if they're rolling them because the guy's banged up, or if they're rolling them because they want to get some guys some reps. I just don't. When I watch them, I don't know what to make of them. They're so much better than everyone they played.
Is it that bad?
Yes.
You open up with Texas.
Yes, it's that bad.
You played a ranked Illinois team on the road. You're at Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's not good.
You played at Washington.
I like Washington.
But here's they can't help the Big Ten games they've played. That's not on them.
It's not their fault. I'm not blaming them. None of these are their fault. They tried to play Texas. Texas didn't play well.
Grambling and Ohio aren't going to reshape people's opinions, you know.
Yeah, but to me, that doesn't make that big a difference, to be honest with you.
Okay. You continue to go down the AP Top 25. Indiana, they've had a guy or two. They have a running back dinged up a little bit, I think.
They've had a guy
maybe
or two
an offensive
that have been
lineman
out. They've
but
had a guy
not
or two.
Serious stuff.
They've had a guy or two. Their corner, D'Angelo Pons, who's kind of an All-American. He's been a little banged up, but is back.
Not really. So not serious across the board.
Yeah,
Texas A&M, I feel like has been
Le'Veon Moss.
Yeah, but they were deep at running back coming into the season.
They
were. It's a little bit of a concern.
That's still a miss. Like you're gonna miss him for sure.
They're dealing more with fines from guys faking injuries than actual injuries.
Oh boy.
Alabama, they kind of have.
Jam Miller.
And you've had, it took a while for Tim Keenum to get back in there.
Quay Russaw.
You've lost Quay Russaw for a while. So they actually have been dealing with a little bit more than some of these other teams. Georgia has had some injury issues on the offensive line.
Yes.
So they've kind of been dealing with that a little bit. Oregon, not serious stuff, I don't really think.
Their injury issues actually kind of happened in the preseason when they lost Evan Stewart in the preseason.
And he can come back. He may be back this year, correct?
It's possible. He tore an ACL in it's not that dissimilar to the Jermod McCoy situation at Tennessee. They also, their running back, Lamar, he's a good player. He's been a little banged up, but they're really deep at running back. They go 3-4 deep there.
Georgia Tech, I don't feel like has been in a bad situation.
Haynes King missed a game.
Well,
against nobody.
The guy takes 15 hits a game. So,
yes.
And that's not including when he runs the ball.
Malik Rutherford, one of their receivers, has been a little banged up, but not crazy. I mean, he's played. It hasn't been anything too significant.
Rounding out the top 10, Ole Miss, Miami, Vanderbilt. So
Ole Miss has had one corner, right?
Quarterback.
Ricky Fletcher. Yeah,
but that actually ended up being a benefit, maybe.
I
guess my point is these teams in the top 10, we haven't been so and so out for the year. This guy out 6 weeks. This guy out 3 weeks. You know, on their third guy at this position.
Correct.
Third guy over at this position. Fourth guy here. So the theme that we kind of thought was going to be mega important towards the end of the year looks like it's really playing out that way.
Yes.
You know, some teams that we thought were going to be really good, Notre Dame, had a lot of injury issues. Not saying they're not a good team, but maybe preventing them from looking like a great team. Tennessee.
They had a lot of injury issues last year. That was what was so remarkable about their run, is that they were so banged up. They lost multiple linemen. They lost multiple D linemen. They lost multiple corners. And yet they just kept getting better. That's what's so crazy about last year.
And some of the teams we thought were going to be good, Tennessee, they dealt with DB injuries coming into the season. LSU's had some offensive line issues. So obviously quarterback who's been playing through an injury. We're starting to see that affect not just the teams, but all of college football. And how that plays out, maybe it's a conversation like we've had of teams that are playing more guys, getting more guys ready. That becomes critical down the stretch. Or teams that just have some sort of real depth. It could be a scenario where we see some of these guys that were taken from G5, Division II, whatever it was, that we looked at and said, man, really? That you need that? That might be somebody that some of these teams are leaning on in weeks 9, 10, 11.
Yeah.
Just to get 20 more snaps a game, 15 snaps a game, put them on punt cover instead of your starting linebacker, whatever it is. So maybe some of those guys start to be more valuable as the season goes along, where week 8, week 12, we've got them ready to play. They can now give our guy a little bit of a breather or take some of the pounding off as the season gets towards its end. But that's something that we're going to continue to watch and look at, because I think we're seeing it affect. I mean, Texas Tech's now dealing with quarterback issues.
Yes.
They lost their first game of the season this past week. So,
well, they're also and those teams that have kind of solidified their standing, just wait here in 3 weeks. The teams that do have some guys that are 50-50, probably could push through it, maybe don't have to, that have secured their playoff spot, don't be surprised if there's some teams that keep some guys a little bit protected down the stretch.
Oh, okay. All right, so we'll talk national championship. Of the 6 teams that are still undefeated, I'm going to call those out to you. I want you to tell me who you think is a conference championship contender, playoff contender, national championship contender. Yeah, that's how you can categorize these 6 teams, okay?
Okay.
Georgia Tech.
Conference championship contender and playoff contender.
Ohio State.
Natty.
Texas A&M.
I think they're natty. Like, I really do. I think their quarterback needs to get hot, but I think they can win it.
That's a great summary of that one, because the quarterback position is what keeps me from going there with them. Playoff, absolutely.
100%.
Conference, 100%. But
they can win it.
They can, but there's something about me that is struggling to build confidence with them being a national championship contender.
Fair.
There's a lot to like. But
if the stars aligned, and I don't love the matchup with them against Ohio State. You know what I mean?
We may say that about everybody.
Yeah, but not really. Texas had them in a pretty good spot if they knew how to run a quarterback sneak.
I wouldn't want to see that game this weekend, though.
I agree. But just saying, I know that was a long time ago, and I know Ohio State didn't do much offensively and didn't try to do much offensively, but I don't think they've been punched in the face yet. So
fair enough.
Until a team gets punched, no one thought anyone was going to beat Oregon last year either. Until a team gets punched and you see a team respond, to me, I think that's a real important thing. If you just sleepwalk through the regular season like they're going to do, then I think that will be, not to their benefit long term.
BYU.
I don't think they're making the playoff.
Not even a contender to get there?
They're always a contender to get there. They're 7-0. I mean, but I think the Big 12 is getting one in. They still have to go to Texas Tech. I think BYU is getting by the hair of their chinny chin chin. And I got a ton of respect for their program. Absolutely love Kalani Sitake, one of my favorites. I think he's a phenomenal builder. I think he's a great culture creator. There's so much to like about what BYU has, but they are getting through some games with literally tape and shoestring. I mean, no, the schedule's rough. It's not just that game at Texas Tech. They have to go to Iowa State before that. I think they're losing this one this week. I think they're going to lose at Iowa State. I think they'll lose Texas Tech. I think they got a chance to lose at Cincinnati. I think all 3 of those road trips are very difficult. I also look too at some of the games. TCU, and they're at home also. TCU at home's a beast. And honestly, the Arizona game was pretty fortuitous to come back and win that one. What's the likelihood of them? They were in a pretty good spot last week, but a 22-yard run where you're literally just shedding defenders by a freshman quarterback. W- how often can you reliably count on that? Like, I like BYU. I really do. I really like their program. I just don't trust them. That's kind of where I'm at with them right now.
Okay.
Are you the same page?
Yeah, for the most part. Indiana,
Natty.
Navy.
What?
You heard me.
Haven't we done this with Navy before?
No, are they a threat to win their conference? Are they? If and I probably shouldn't have laid that out that way because they're a threat to win their conference, and I think they're a threat to get in. It's just if you don't want to have them going past just getting in, that's fine.
No, they're gonna get beat badly.
Wow.
By somebody in the American, probably in the next 3 weeks.
Well, yeah, they've got North Texas on the road. They got Memphis on the road. South Florida at home.
They're gonna they'll be 8-4.
Squeeze a Notre Dame in there, an Army in there. So I could easily see 3 losses to end the season.
We went through this.
They're one of 6 undefeated teams.
I don't disagree. I get where you're at.
I'm glad you don't disagree with the fact that they're undefeated.
We have been through this exercise in the past where, Navy's great, and then fast forward, and they get absolutely drummed down the stretch. So I'd love it. Nothing would make me happier than to see Navy in the college football playoff.
Okay.
Well, other than Army, because I'm an Army guy. But nothing would make me happier than to see one of the academies in the college football playoff. I'm not going to get over my skis because I called that game against Notre Dame last year. Seen it. Wasn't pretty.
Okay. All right. So that's just some of your undefeated teams, or all of your undefeated teams that are left. We'll roll that conversation into sort of the conference conversation. What that looks like as far as who potentially is going to win it, who potentially is going to be there. Before we get to that conversation, tell listeners about Bromberg's.
Well, Bromberg's, it's Kwiat Trunk Show week. What is Kwiat? I didn't know. I'll be the first to admit, but actually, upon doing a little more due diligence, we own some Kwiat stuff at the house. The trunk show actually starts today at the Mountain Brook store. So go and check it out. Mountain Brook store. You'll check out an extended collection of dazzling Kwiat diamond jewelry, elegant bracelets, rings, perfectly layered necklaces. And for over a century, Kwiat has crafted some of the most beautifully cut diamonds in the world. And this is your chance to see them up close. You can add a Kwiat piece to your Bromberg's wish list or find the perfect gift. It's wrapped in that silver signature box and treasured for a lifetime. So go check out the Kwiat Trunk Show today, Mountain Brook Village store. You can also go see him at the Summit, but the Kwiat Trunk Show is at Mountain Brook Village store at Bromberg's.
All right, when we come back, conference championships. Who looks like there's in the driver's seat and who is maybe fool's gold as it comes to winning their league? We'll begin that discussion next right here on Jocks. let's begin to look at conference championship races. Some of this may be a little bit more clouded than you believe. We'll start in the ACC, Greg, where I think if you asked a lot of people, they would still just say, well, this is Miami. So they'll figure it out. They'll find a way. They'll get it. And not that they don't have a great chance to, but still games at SMU, NC State, at Virginia Tech a little bit later in the year could be tricky. At Pitt could also be tricky. But do you view Miami as in the driver's seat to win the ACC?
I think they're still in the driver's seat, but I'm telling you, it's going to get a little bit more complex than you realize. And that's what I think is very interesting. Now, Miami still, without question, the best chance to make the college football playoff from the ACC because they have two pathways, not just by way of the ACC championship game. We know they can get in there. They win that, they're in, right? All 5 conference champions make it. But they also have the head-to-head against Notre Dame. And Notre Dame continues to strengthen. So even if Miami were to lose one more down the stretch, a la, I don't know, at Pitt, a la at Virginia Tech, do I think it's likely? No. Do I think it's likely they lose to Pitt? Possible, but not likely. I think there's a real strong chance Miami's sitting there at 11-1 at season's end. And guess what? They also have to go to SMU, by the way. But if they get that SMU game, there's a real strong chance that Miami is sitting there at season's end, 11-1 and not playing in the conference championship game. You're sitting there saying, how? How's that possible? Well, Georgia Tech right now. Let's walk through their situation. They're undefeated. Their remaining games in the ACC. Syracuse, 17-point favorite. Which, by the way, you taking Syracuse this weekend? Over the Ramblin' Wreck?
I'm not.
You sure?
I'm positive.
I can't talk you into Syracuse.
No, I do think that is a problem game for Georgia Tech. But I like Georgia Tech in that one.
I don't disagree. You won't find any pushback from me. I think that one is safe in favor of the Yellow Jackets. So, moving on, they also have to go to NC State.
Yeah, I don't like at least that's not a Thursday night. I will say that. I think that's of great benefit.
I think NC State's a fine football team. They're not a team that if I were Georgia Tech, I'm freaking out about having to go play.
Tough place to play, though.
It's a very tough place to play.
And the better if they win this week and look good, the better the ranking, the harder I think that'll be there.
Don't disagree.
I really am concerned about Boston College that late in the year. November 15th at BC, that's a tough game.
Boston College is 1-6.
I don't care. It's a tough place to play.
I understand that. Fair enough.
Go ask Miami in the Big East. How many times they struggled up there in November?
I get it. They are currently 18-point favorites against Syracuse, or 17.5-point favorites against Syracuse. Look ahead line for NC State, 6.5. Pretty good on the road, by the way. Look ahead line at Boston College, 17.5. Pitt is a 3.5-point favorite at home, which little interesting there.
And you got a short week before Georgia.
And then you have they're 7.5-point dog against Georgia. Even if they lose to Georgia Tech, even if they lose to Georgia, guess what? That doesn't factor into their ACC race.
No, they should. They should be able to go play in the ACC championship game and get in.
They should, right? They should. Here's some other challenges. Right now, Louisville has one loss in conference. That one loss came to Virginia. Louisville is going to be a heavy favorite in each of the next 3 games against Boston College, at Virginia Tech, and Cal. Then Clemson comes to them. They're about a 7-point favorite at home right now against Clemson, which I don't disagree with. They'll go to SMU. They're about a 3.5-point favorite. And then Kentucky, of course, does not factor in. They're a 2-touchdown favorite against Kentucky at home. So you have a 1-loss, 7-1 Louisville team. Miami favored in every game the rest of the way, so they're probably going to finish the season with 1 loss. Let's just assume chalk flies. In all these situations, let's assume chalk flies. You know who's also undefeated right now in conference?
Virginia.
Virginia. Do you know why? because their game against NC State was not a conference game. That was an out-of-conference game that was scheduled.
Just weird.
They are favored in every game but one the rest of the way. North Carolina, they're double-digit favorite.
It's not a daunting task.
At Cal, I think that's a dangerous one, if you want me to be honest. All the way cross country, tricky game for sure. Tricky game there. Wake Forest.
Better than you think.
Wake Forest better than you think. They're a 7-point favorite. 7 and change. They are a 3-point dog right now. Look ahead line at Duke.
Yeah, Duke has the advantage of the line of scrimmage there.
Don't disagree, but the playmaking ability of Chandler Morris and company is something that you need to be mindful of.
Should be okay.
So
and then rivalry game to close it out. What do they call that?
The Commonwealth Cup.
Wow.
So you're looking at a possibility of 11-1 Virginia team undefeated in the ACC with the head-to-head over Louisville. But if Virginia were to lose, then you have a 3-way tie between Louisville, Virginia, and Miami. In that scenario, Miami might get the benefit of the doubt, but probably not. It's probably going to be Louisville.
We haven't talked about SMU.
We're about to get there.
SMU 3-0 in the league.
Correct.
At Wake, Miami, at BC, Louisville, at Cal. I think people see the schedule and they do not stay front of mind with winning the league.
Correct.
Because of the schedule mainly.
They will be a near double-digit dog against Miami at home. They will be a 3.5-point dog against Louisville at home, with a road trip to Cal sprinkled in there as well, and a road trip to your Boston College. And by the way, I think they need to be careful this week at Wake Forest. Look ahead situation. I don't see SMU getting to the finish line. It's possible. I don't see it. So all that being said, Miami is probably in pretty good shape to make it as an at-large given their non-conference wins against Notre Dame and South Florida. But there's a real chance the ACC's championship will be between either Georgia Tech and or Virginia and or Louisville. I mean, the ACC's getting 2 again this year, guys, as they play their 8 conference games in a schedule and in a league, frankly, that is as top-heavy as any in the sport. So that's an issue. Not necessarily, I'm talking to mostly SEC fans here. Why is that an issue? Because that means one of your teams could be left out in favor of an at-large ACC team, which in Miami I think is deserving. But this league desperately needs Miami to win the ACC.
Yeah.
Badly.
What are the chances in all the scenarios we laid out of 2 teams getting in? What has to happen?
I would say you're looking at a scenario in the ACC of, I think it's 90% they get 2 teams in.
What are your 2 favorites to get in? Is it a scenario where it needs to be, say, a Georgia Tech lose to Georgia, get to title game, can still lose title game and get in?
Yes.
Has to be against like a Miami who's going to have the resume to maintain that respect with everybody?
I think best case scenario for fans of the SEC, Georgia walks the dog on Georgia Tech. And maybe Georgia Tech is undefeated or 10-2. That second loss, I think, would be enormous, especially knowing who they played in the non-conference and factoring in strength of schedule. Right now, their strength of schedule, Georgia Tech's strength of schedule, is 72nd in college football.
Ooh.
They are 55th in the Power 4. In the non-conference, they played Colorado, who's not bad, Gardner-Webb, and Temple. And, of course, they get Georgia. So their strength of schedule will strengthen greatly as the season goes along because they get Georgia at the end. And Colorado is a Power 4 opponent, so you got to give them some credit there. They're playing 10 Power 4s. Colorado hasn't materialized. But right now, their strength of schedule is not great. And their strength of schedule in conference is an abomination. It's not their fault that Clemson has not materialized.
Sure.
It's not their fault that Syracuse isn't as good. It's not their fault that Duke's fallen off. It's not their fault for any of these things. It's not their fault that NC State's not very good. It's just that's the way things have gone for Georgia Tech this year. So I think the best case scenario, if you're an SEC fan and you're trying to maximize the amount of SEC teams that get in, you desperately need Miami to win the ACC. Because guess what? Miami's probably getting in as an at-large at 10-2 or better. You not agree?
Most likely.
And
So
if you're a Notre Dame fan, you desperately need Miami to win the ACC.
That boosts your resume, and there's not a lot on that resume that can be boosted right now. The USC win is one that could look better towards the end of the season. We mentioned a couple of things with Pitt. I think they would need to finish strong, but there's not a lot that resume is holding on to. Boise's, I think, 5-2, but there's just not a lot. A&M is going to help, and Miami's going to help, but you still lost to those teams. But you're going to need Notre Dame's going to need some strength in wins, and I don't know where they're going to get it from when it comes to this committee looking at who's going to get in. I understand that they are going to be looked at favorably, but we'll talk a little bit more about that schedule. Roll into a couple of other conferences. Still want to go from some of the SEC games we didn't get to from over the weekend. We'll do all that and more next right here on Jocks. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, running through conference scenarios there, and we mentioned a little bit of Notre Dame. Are you with me that you think it's going to be, as of today, difficult for Notre Dame to get into the college football playoff?
Yes. I don't think it's a lock. I think that's likely. I don't think it's a lock.
Yeah, obviously he would have to win out. That would be at Boston College, Navy at Pitt, Syracuse at Stanford. And then the other teams on your schedule that could continue to boost your resume, USC, Boise. I don't think Arkansas is going to give you much. I don't think NC State's going to give you much. So Purdue's not going to give you much. there's going to be two ways to look at this. People in that room, Greg, are going to sit there and say, you potentially lost to two teams that are getting in. That's a heck of a year. And then the other people are going to say, okay, provide me with your impressive wins.
Yes.
And there's just not going to be a lot of those for Notre Dame.
No, there's not. But at the same time, they might be the beneficiary of being able to get in because other teams fall off. Like they might be in a situation where, all right, hey, yeah, well, maybe our schedule isn't great, but you know what? I'll tell you what is great. The fact that our resume is actually better than teams that have not taken care of business. We have at least taken care of business. So I could see that being they've done that before. Like SMU's schedule last year was completely underwhelming, but how'd they get in?
They won one conference championship game. No, Clemson won the conference championship game. Sorry.
Correct.
They had the resume.
Everyone else fell off. They went 11-2. The teams they were being measured against were all 9-3 between Ole Miss, Miami, Bama,
South Carolina,
and South Carolina.
Fair enough.
Still amazed that South Carolina was considered, even though they lost to two teams that they were being measured against last year. I don't think South Carolina was ever a real candidate last year. I don't think anyone else wants to acknowledge that, but I don't think they really were. Because they lost to Bama and they lost to Ole Miss. It's great they beat Clemson, but they were not really a real candidate, in my opinion. So really, Miami, Ole Miss, and Bama were being measured against SMU. SMU got in because they were 11-1 going into the ACC championship game when Miami and Bama didn't play in the ACC, didn't play in a championship game. So, and SMU was ahead of them going into championship weekend. Miami was 10-2, by the way, not 9-3. But I digress.
All right, so the conference that started a lot of this conversation would have been the Big 12. Let's go there. When you look at BYU, Cincinnati are going to be your in-league undefeated teams. In conference play, that is. BYU still undefeated overall, one of the 6 teams remaining that is. Cincinnati 4-0 in conference. Then you would get one-loss teams, Arizona State, Texas Tech, Houston, who is quietly having a solid season.
Very quiet.
You still have a dangerous Iowa State team at 2-2, dangerous TCU at 2-2, Baylor's at 2-2, K-State, Utah, Kansas all at 2-2 in conference. So when you look at how this thing could work itself out, how many teams right now do you really believe even have a chance to go win the Big 12?
I still think it's Texas Tech to lose. I don't see them losing from this point forward. I think last week was a unique circumstance, desperate team, backup quarterback, a lot of different things going into that one. But when you look at it beyond that, the Big 12 is a little wide open. What percentage likelihood would you have of BYU running the table and winning out?
Probably better than you. I think I like them a little bit more. But when we looked at that schedule, I just don't like the road games. Even though you can't throw tortillas on the field anymore, going to Texas Tech, going to Iowa State's tough. At Cincinnati's tough. I have begun to sort of turn the corner on Cincinnati like you have been all year. I think they're a really good football team, and I don't think they're getting enough credit. They got a playmaker at quarterback. The offensive line operates well. They have disruptors up front on defense.
Yes.
They're a good team.
They are. They're a very good team.
And I don't see them winning those 3 road games. No.
Right now, ESPN Analytics puts it at 4% that they went out.
So they don't have a lot of confidence.
I don't know how you could. That's just a tough. And this is a team that wins very close margins. Like I think this week's a tough week. Iowa State coming off a bye on the road, desperate Iowa State team that already has 2 losses. Like I think it's a tough game. Iowa State, by the way, has lost 2 in a row, and they're banged up in the back end defensively. So like I'm not necessarily feeling great about Iowa State, but I think they can get it for sure. And that's probably their 4th most difficult game remaining. Would you not agree?
Probably.
Behind TCU, behind at Texas Tech, behind at Cincinnati.
Yes.
So all those things considered, man, I am just not of that much belief that BYU finishes any better than 10-2.
Okay, well, let's go to Texas Tech, who has all the confidence right now, not just with you, but a lot of other people.
They're not losing.
Oklahoma State at K-State, BYU at home, UCF at home, at West Virginia.
I don't see them losing. I think at K-State's toughest game, K-State's 3-4. Doesn't mean K can't jump up and get you. For sure they could. Chris Kleiman's a good coach. You think BYU's going to run it down Texas Tech's throat? Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out why. Maybe we got an explanation for this back in the day and I totally missed it. But why does TCU play Cincinnati in the last week of the season? And
rivalry.
Texas Tech plays West Virginia when we could literally have two Texas schools play one another on rivalry weekend?
I don't know.
And well, we got Baylor Houston, so we're trying with that one. Have we given that a name yet? Have we given that a trinket yet?
Houston.
I think Big 12 missed the boat there. Sorry, I just noticed that, and I had not thought about it before.
Fair enough. I hadn't thought about it since, but well said. So all these things we're talking about, all these situations, all these scenarios, all this other stuff. I get all that, but in reality, when you look at it, like I don't see a scenario where BYU's going undefeated. I do think Texas Tech can. Will they? I don't know. I'd put it like, I don't know, 35, 40%. ESPN Analytics has it at
29%.
21%.
17%.
21%.
There you go.
Which is 10th highest in college football to win out. Pretty good. So, now that we've talked about those two, let's get to the others. Cincy. Not bad down the stretch. Baylor at home, tough game. At Utah, tough game, especially knowing Utah. Utah has not been good against the run, though. For whatever reason, Utah has not been great against the run. However, Utah's offense is pretty dang dynamic. And while they didn't score a lot of points last week, they had 470 yards of offense. They just got to learn how to finish. Arizona at home, BYU at home. And then at TCU. I think Cincy loses at least one, maybe two.
I'll give you one.
All right. So I think it could come down to their road trip to TCU in the finale, by the way.
Rivalry game, like you said.
Massive. Massive. Chili versus
and also,
Chili.
Sorry, let me
this
stop
is the
you
great chili off.
Why did Utah and BYU not play the last week of the season?
Don't know, dude. Why do you ask me the questions I don't know? Why do you always ask me things like this?
They play Kansas.
It's an important game.
Sorry, this is going to bother me. I need to know from Brett Yormark why we did this.
I'm with you. I understand. They don't need to explain to me. I don't have a season scheduler.
Who do you think Kansas State plays rivalry weekend? I mean, it matters. It's a big one. It's got meaning.
Arizona.
Colorado.
Love that. See?
Who don't want to see that one over Thanksgiving
Flatlands
dinner?
versus the Rockies. The Prairie.
The Geography Bowl.
The Prairie versus the mountains.
I mean,
it makes sense to me.
What are we doing?
No, you're so mad. Don't get hung up on this. It's
I can't help it.
It's not important.
Hold on a second.
Oh, here we go.
You're going to tell me, but we put Arizona and Arizona State against one another.
Yes, that's the territory.
The regular season Sun Bowl we actually have. But all the other games, we don't really care if you play your rival in the last weekend of the season. We're dumb.
Dumb.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Let's finish on the other side. We'll finish up Cincinnati.
Well, we got one more team. And this won't be too difficult because it's Arizona State. And I like Arizona State. I think they're rounding into shape. I do think their quarterback situation was a bit of an issue. You got Houston at home this week. That's a 6-1 football team. That's at home. I like their chances. At Iowa State, very tricky game. Iowa State might be coming off a bruising physical game against BYU this week, so maybe it gives them a little bit more. It's a tough game. West Virginia home, at Colorado, Arizona home. Likelihood that they finish with one loss or fewer.
Not great.
They're going to lose one, right?
Yeah.
So you can remove them. So you're looking at Cincinnati against Texas Tech, which is good news if you're an SEC fan, because the SEC, you're probably only getting one team out of the Big 12.
There's not a way you're playing for two teams to get in right there.
Correct.
Be careful of these two-loss teams is what I would say. Now, they don't all have the schedule that's going to allow them to play their way in realistically based on what we think is going to happen with the teams above them. But Iowa State, TCU, Baylor, Kansas State, Utah, Kansas get hot, maybe. All I'm saying is maybe. Just We're not going to go through all those schedules, but I think that some of those teams could end up complicating this more than we're giving them credit for right now.
Fair.
But we'll see. It's going to be interesting. It's not as clear a path as a lot of people believe and a lot of people think.
No.
I think everybody feels like they have the Big Ten figured out and know exactly how that's going to go.
Naturally.
Will it go that way? We will answer that question next. But first, I'll tell you about Game Day Men's Health. If you are lacking sleep, lacking energy, feeling on edge, Game Day Men's Health can help you today. All you do is go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com, sign up for that free consultation. You get the free PSA test, the free testosterone test. They're going to do your blood pressure, weigh you in, get all your vitals, let you know where your health is, and then give you options in which they can help you. That could be weight loss. That could be re-energizing you, getting you better sleep. All those things they have programs for in stock. The peptides are in stock now, something your body discontinues making. They can help get those going for you as well. Again, holistic approach to health and wellness, open and trustful, save 10% on any service they offer by mentioning Mac and Cube when you walk in the front door. It's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Tell them you heard about them right here on Mac and Cube in the morning. Big Ten discussion next on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Glad you're with us. 800-239-9569, 800-239-WJOX. Stephen Godfrey coming up at 8:30. We'll talk coaching moves with him. What's next at Florida? Where does he think Auburn stands? A couple other jobs that may potentially be coming open. Preston Guy's going to talk LSU this weekend. Where are they from a head coaching perspective moving forward and some injuries? in Baton Rouge that we'll get to with him. Before we continue on our conference races, who looks like they are in the driver's seat. Some of these may not be as easy to figure out as you imagine. I'll tell you about Gusty Goulas and the Gusty Goulas Group. If you're looking for a new home in Birmingham, well, the Gusty Goulas Group has served more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers right here in the greater Birmingham area. Since 2012, the Gusty Goulas Group has been recognized both nationally and locally as Greater Birmingham, Alabama's #1 team in homes sold. Over 850 five-star Google reviews. Most agents start marketing after you list with them. Gusty's been marketing long before he meets a potential seller. Google Gusty Goulas Group. Go to gustygoulasgroup.com or call 205-542-1996 today. Brokered by eXp Realty. They want to help you get into your dream home. They can do it today. Call 205-542-1996 or go to gustygoulasgroup.com. Is the Big Ten as easy as Ohio State to lose?
Yes. But I think Indiana's right there. But it's kind of inconsequential.
Is it as easy as those two will meet in the Big Ten title game, and it will not matter because they're both in?
Yeah, it probably doesn't matter. Right? You see it the same way?
I don't see how it couldn't be that. I mean, I understand UCLA has figured some things out.
Correct.
They're not getting that game this weekend. At Maryland, at Penn State, no. Wisconsin at Purdue. I think at Maryland's their toughest game remaining.
I don't disagree at all.
And people are going to be mad when they look at the strength of schedule and the overall opponent record.
Just watch them.
Whatever. They're a good football team.
Just watch them.
Ohio State, Penn State this week at home. At Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers at home. At Michigan. I can't dismiss the Michigan game just because of what happened in the last few years. Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Don't see him dropping that one this year. Didn't see him dropping it last year. But it has been a weird one. I don't see him losing.
They're not losing.
So
if they did, does it matter?
I don't think so.
Probably not.
So where do we go after that, though? Is Oregon running the table just in? Wisconsin at Iowa,
I think
Minnesota, USC
Oregon
at Washington the rest of the way.
I think Oregon's going to lose one.
At Iowa?
At Iowa, SC at home, at Washington.
That's on November the 8th, by the way.
What, the Iowa game?
Yes.
I mean, I could see them losing one. You think they lose one?
Not really.
Really?
No.
Homer?
Yeah, big Oregon guy.
Been saying that. You
At Washington could be tricky late, but
I think Washington's there. If it becomes a track meet, like Washington's not a team that wants to play bully ball, but depending on Oregon's defense and how they're playing in that one, like DeMond Williams is a handful now. Like he's a good football player, and I think if DeMond Williams gets going and gets hot, look out. You're going to have some challenges.
Could I see a track meet with both those games at the end of the season that, maybe you turn it over 2 times, 3 times, and it doesn't go your way? Yes.
Yes.
I could, but I don't feel like it's likely. But the at Washington one would be probably more complicated just because it's on the road. But that's a program that's played there enough to know what it's like and how to manage it.
Yes. I'm not worried about. I think Oregon, you're looking at 10-2 at worst, 11-1, probably in the field regardless.
You think even if they drop one of those last 2 games, they're still in?
Yes.
So who would be next from the Big Ten if there is one?
I don't think there is one. SC is the only other chance.
SC right now, sitting at 5-2, they have at Nebraska this week.
Yes.
At night, they're letting them do that?
Can you believe it?
It's not November yet. Never mind. Sorry. It's not November.
Yes.
Still warm up there.
SC, I think, is their only shot. SC's got 2 losses. SC's pretty good.
But that would probably then contain one of those losses for Oregon that we mentioned. They'd have to get that game.
Correct.
SC's got Nebraska on the road, Northwestern, Iowa at home, at Oregon, and then UCLA. So the prospects of 4 big teams in, it's a little hard to buy right now. Iowa.
It is in the SEC. The SEC, I think, has got a real shot at 4, but I don't see 4 out of the Big Ten.
Yeah, we're going to talk SEC next. Iowa's got Minnesota, Oregon at USC, Michigan State at Nebraska. But you're probably looking at a 3-loss team fighting to get in there, and that doesn't seem